Have you ever looked up at the moon and, just felt a sense of wonder? It hangs there in the night sky, a silent, silver companion. We think we know it, we believe it's just a dead rock. But what if there's more to the story? What if the moon is not what it seems? Imagine it holds secrets that could rewrite everything. This isn't just a flight of fancy, it's a question scientists have quietly pondered for decades, sparked by strange and unsettling data. The mystery begins with a sound, or rather, the report of a sound. During Apollo, NASA ran an experiment. They crashed part of a lunar module into the surface. The impact was meant to create seismic waves to probe the moon's interior. What they detected was astonishing. The moon didn't just thud, it rang, reverberating like a gigantic bell for over an hour. Scientists were confused. That single event opened a Pandora's box of questions. So we must ask, if the moon isn't a solid ball of rock, then what is it? The answer could be stranger than fiction. When we encounter mysteries of this magnitude, we often turn to the great minds of our time. We look for thinkers who are not afraid to push the boundaries of accepted knowledge. As a theoretical physicist, I have spent my life exploring the very fabric of reality, from the smallest strings to the vastness of multiple universes. My work, including string field theory, is about asking what if. It is about looking at the data and daring to imagine possibilities that others might dismiss. It is through this lens of bold inquiry that we must examine the enigma of the moon. We cannot be afraid to follow the evidence, no matter where it leads. My role, as I see it, is to take complex scientific ideas and make them accessible. It is to ignite the spark of curiosity in the public imagination. The universe is the greatest detective story ever told, and we are all detectives trying to piece together the clues. The moon is one of our most fascinating clues, sitting right on our cosmic doorstep. Its mysteries are not just academic puzzles, they touch upon the very origins of life on Earth and our potential destiny among the stars. When respected scientists and even astronauts whisper about anomalies, we have a duty to listen and to question. My goal is to bring these questions out of the shadows and into the light, encouraging a new generation to look up at the moon and ask, what are you really? Let's look at the facts. The moon is, by all accounts, an impossible object. Its very existence violates what we know about how planetary systems should form. For starters, consider its size. The moon is enormous relative to the Earth, about 1/4 our diameter. No other planet has a moon proportionally this large. Mars moons are tiny captured asteroids. Jupiter and Saturn's giant moons are dwarfed by their planets. Our moon behaves more like a companion planet, a unique binary. Then, density. The moon is remarkably light for its size. Average density, 3.34 grams per cubic centimeter. Earth's 5.5 grams per cubic centimeter. That gap suggests a different makeup than Earth. If it were a solid body, that low density is puzzling. But if the moon were hollow, or had a much less dense core, with a very rigid crust, the numbers start to make sense. The data hints at an interior unlike any rocky body we've studied. Composition raises more questions. Apollo rocks contained processed metals like brass. Apollo samples with mica. Apollo samples with pure, rust-resistant iron. Titanium was found in shocking abundance. Some lunar crust areas are richer in titanium than Earth's best deposits. Together, these anomalies defy our models, a silent testament to a deep cosmic mystery. Our exploration of the moon has only deepened the mystery. The missions we sent, from the unmanned probes of the 1960s to the legendary Apollo landings, were designed to answer our questions. Instead, they gave us 100 new ones. The data they sent back was often so strange that it seemed to hint at a history far more complex and bizarre than we could have ever imagined. Each new discovery seemed to add another layer to the enigma, turning our scientific investigation into something that felt more like a cosmic crime scene investigation, filled with baffling clues and missing pieces. One of the most startling discoveries came from the Apollo 15 mission. While drilling into the lunar surface, astronauts encountered incredible resistance. The lunar crust was found to be far tougher and harder than anticipated. They were drilling into what appeared to be an extremely dense and durable material, rich in those same metals like titanium. It was as if the moon had a protective shell, or hull. Where did this magnetism come from, and why was the crust so unnaturally tough? Something is happening there. The most widely accepted scientific explanation for the moon's origin is the giant impact hypothesis. About 4.5 billion years ago, a Mars-sized protoplanet collided with the early Earth. That protoplanet is called Theia. The impact was catastrophic. It ejected massive molten rock and debris into orbit. Over time, that debris coalesced under gravity to form the moon. It's an elegant textbook story. If the moon formed from Earth and Theia, its composition should be a blend of both. But lunar rock's isotopic composition is almost identical to Earth's. It's like the moon is made almost entirely of Earth material. There's very little trace of Theia, or only Earth's mantle was ejected, something computer models struggle to reproduce. Another major flaw is volatiles. The impact heat would have vaporized water, it would have vaporized sodium, it would have vaporized potassium. So the moon should be exceptionally dry, but recent discoveries changed everything. We've found significant water ice in permanently shadowed polar craters. We've also found water trapped inside volcanic glass beads from the lunar interior. That water shouldn't exist if the moon formed in a fiery cataclysm. The moon's origin remains one of planetary science's greatest unsolved mysteries. When a natural explanation fails to fit the facts, we must have the courage to consider unnatural ones. This brings us to the most speculative yet intriguing of all theories, the spaceship moon or artificial moon hypothesis. This idea was put forward by two Soviet scientists, Michael Vasin and Alexander Shcherbakov, back in 1970. They looked at the long list of lunar anomalies, its hollowness, its strange metallic crust, its impossible orbit, and concluded that no natural process could account for them. Their radical proposal was that the moon is not a natural satellite at all. They argued that the moon is an artificial planetoid, a massive, hollowed-out world created by an unknown, highly advanced intelligence. This civilization may have constructed it and placed it in orbit around Earth for a specific purpose. Perhaps it was intended as a massive ark, a survival vessel to traverse the vast distances between stars. Or maybe it is a colossal monitoring station, a silent sentinel watching over the development of life on Earth. This would explain the incredibly tough titanium-rich outer hull. It would be the protective shell of a massive spacecraft. The mascons could be the remnants of machinery or structural supports deep within. The ringing observed by Apollo seismometers is exactly what you would expect from a giant, hollow, metallic sphere. And while the naturalistic giant impact hypothesis struggles to account for many of the moon's peculiarities, the artificial moon hypothesis, for all its wildness, seems to fit the strange facts surprisingly well. Despite decades of study, the moon remains a box of unanswered questions. The more we learn, the more we realize how little we truly know. Scientists today are still grappling with the most fundamental mysteries. The question of its origin is far from settled. If the giant impact theory is flawed, what is the alternative? Did a series of smaller impacts create the moon? Did the Earth and moon form together as a binary pair from the start? Or is the truth something far stranger, something we have not yet even conceived of? The lack of a consensus theory among experts is telling. The mystery of the moon's internal structure is another profound puzzle. The seismic data from the Apollo missions which showed the moon ringing like a bell has never been fully explained in a conventional way. Is the moon truly hollow, or does it have a small, solid core surrounded by a less dense or partially molten mantle? Then there are the questions raised by recent discoveries. The confirmation of water ice at the poles and water molecules in the lunar interior directly contradicts the idea of a moon forged in fire. Each of these questions is a loose thread in the tapestry of our understanding. The moon is not a solved problem, it is a mystery waiting to be unraveled. The moon is more than just a satellite. It is a mirror reflecting our own curiosity and our relentless drive to explore the unknown. Its persistent mysteries are a gift, reminding us that there are still great discoveries to be made right in our own cosmic backyard. It is this sense of the unknown that fascinates me and continues to fuel the ambitions of a new generation of scientists, engineers, explorers. We are on the cusp of a new era of lunar exploration. With NASA's Artemis program and missions from other nations and private companies, we are going back to the moon. And this time, we plan to stay. This new chapter of exploration will be different. We will build outposts, mine for resources like water, ice, helium-3, and use the moon as a stepping stone for our next great leap, to Mars and beyond. The next time you gaze at that silver disk in the night sky, remember the ringing bell, the impossible metals, and the unanswered questions. Remember that the greatest adventure is not just out there among the distant stars, but right next door.